And
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to a sad day in couch casual history.
for those of you who don't know, UFC 294 was this past weekend, and Kyle and I actually got together, and we had a good time watching it. Right, Kyle?
Yeah, until the end. And then I went to my room and cried for the rest of the day. Do you want to tell the people why?
Kyle's guy couldn't pull it off. He didn't do it, and that's
And not even just that. My man got murdered.
he came up a little short. It
And
it,
and then the press conference after, man.
it happens to the best of us, Kyle.
Oh.
So with a little pep and a little enthusiasm, let's tell the people what happened.
All right. So we're starting at the bottom, right? We're not going to start with that.
Let's start
main event.
from where we started. I pull up to your place, and it's
He gave me a quick handy.
it's good
and,
vibes.
You know, it was chill. It was vibes. You know, everything was going good.
So we open up the card with our two first fights, which were honestly 5 minutes, if that.
Not even.
So you have what?
Oh, in total, the first three fights in total went about a little over 6 minutes.
Sure. Yeah. Total
In cage time.
in cage time.
Yeah.
So let's open it up with Saeed Nurmagomedov, which he was really impressive at the start.
I mean, he just walked out and pretty much just over.
We had an honorable mention before that fight. It was Muhammad Makayev versus Tim Elliott.
Yeah.
It went the exact same way that we described his last fight, which he got it done in the third round with less than 3 minutes left.
After some wrestle fucks.
After some leg humping, some wrestle fucking, whatever. I am going to remain a big hater on Muhammad Makayev.
Should we define a wrestle fuck for the fans?
Sure. I mean, it's really open to interpretation. A lot of casuals will watch UFC. They will go to a B-Dubs. Buffalo Wild Wings. They will go out and watch.
Sponsored.
Yeah. DraftKings, B-Dubs. You know, they will go out and they will see an event and they will go, why don't they just stand up? The ground game is so boring. What's going on?
Boring.
Now, you have the technical ground game, the jiu-jitsu, the judo leading to the ground, the sambo, if you will. Shout out to Islam Makhachev. You have technical ground game, and then you have hugging for your dear life.
Yes, there you go. I do not mind. I love watching a guy who's transitioning positions and just like dominating ground and pound.
Sure.
All that shit. It's amazing. It's fun to watch. But if you get a guy that just kind of holds them there and just kind of just does just enough to not be stood up, that to me is what a wrestle fuck is. And it's not fun.
Well, unfortunately, it's control time. It's on the other guy to be able to get out or get up or, reverse the maneuver, do something. But there are a lot of stagnant positions that you can get in if you wrestle fuck. Now, I don't know how many more fucks we have to give, but when I'm watching stuff like that, I could give a fuck less. So sorry, folks.
Yeah.
Muhammad
Wrestle fucks are
Makayev,
not fun.
you have slams, you have takedowns, and then you have against the cage. You're pushing up against the cage. You might clinch a little bit, throw a knee to their thigh. You're all the fun in the world to watch, especially as a casual fan. But what I present to you is there are people out there like Habib who you don't want to get under him. You don't want to have his arms wrapped around you. You don't want him anywhere like sniffing your crotch because he is an active wrestler. And I love those kind of wrestlers. If you're going to do something with it,
he's fun.
Do it.
He's fun to watch. He could just hold you down. I'm sure he could do it for 25 minutes straight if he wanted to, but he's active. and then he's pounding and he's pressing the fight and he's just humping you into submission, basically.
Well, he doesn't lose position because he's so technical and he's so smart. Shout out to Khabib Nurmagomedov. But this kid, Muhammad Mokaev, he wears you down for about 3 rounds. I would love to see him in a 5-round fight, but then again, I wouldn't because it would be 5 rounds.
It could just be 25 minutes of that, yeah.
And then he might finish him in the last 2 or 3 minutes. Right when you think like, oh, he's gonna just ride out a decision. No, he finishes the fight with a choke. And what was it, Kyle? Do you have it up? What is it? An arm triangle or a head and arm triangle? Head and arm choke?
Oh, it doesn't say on here. Let me see if I can find it.
Just submission, right?
It just says submission on the UFC website.
And you have a vet in Tim Elliott where if you're caught in the head and arm choke, it's just basically wrapped around here. And all you really have to do is not only answer the phone, but push and create some space. Now, Tim knows that. Everybody who has been in that choke before knows that. But his squeeze, Kyle, his squeeze has to be so intense.
Yeah, like you have to be so strong to get one of those submissions. Let's see if it says. Why does nothing say what he? It just says submission.
They're just casuals, dude. They get the results and they run with it.
Yeah, they watch our show and then,
we have all of it. They have most of it, but we have all of it.
We have all the goods here.
Shout out to another Nurmagomedov. I'll get off of Mokaev. Saeed showed an impressive.
Saeed.
That was a guillotine choke.
That was impressive. Mm-hmm. And it was one of those weird ones where everything's kind of in the front. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Which I always think those look really cool because it just like there's no pressure here.
Yeah.
It's all like forearm strength.
He had it
and
right.
That's I mean, he had that shit deep.
Right in the breadbasket.
Right in the breadbasket. He took the bread home. He took all of Muin's bread, dude. They were
both dry. It was in the first round. I don't know exactly what time, but we weren't watching that fight over 3 minutes.
That one ended at 113.
There was good distance control. He had like a good distance, hands down. I'm ready for him to eat a right overhand, but good distance control. I don't even know. It was a clinch against the cage, I believe, or Muin just put his head right where he shouldn't have.
Yeah, he just did he shoot? Did he try for a shot? Is that what happened?
I believe so.
A really sloppy shot, and then Saeed said, "Okay," locked it up, and that was it. That was all there. That's all she wrote.
So
that's all she said.
We're sitting there. I had just gotten there. Fight starts. It's the main card or whatever he's like introducing Bruce Buffer is, and I'm settling in. I had gotten donuts. I'm just sitting there drinking on my Monster. Shout out to Monster. And then the fight was over. So as quick as that went, is as quick as we're gonna go on to the next one. You have
we spent more time. I think that was longer than a minute and 13.
Yeah,
I believe.
Ikram Aliskerov.
Another one that
Aliskerov.
This one lasted till 2 minutes and 7 seconds in the first round.
And he was going up against Warley Alves, who I don't even want to say this because it sounds blasphemous, and I want to still be friends with this cat after we're done with this podcast, but has a win over Colby Covington.
That's, in like 2014, 2016, something like that.
Super impressive. And they said he fought for some kind of title. We were trying to look that up, and we just couldn't find it. John Anik said that.
John Anik said it, and I really don't know what he was talking about.
Maybe fought for like a regional title or something.
Or maybe he was like, I don't know. I couldn't find what they were talking about, but Ikram, he showed out. He showed off.
Knocked him.
He sent that man home.
Jabbed him hard. And guy was like, fell back on him. Put him up against the cage. And I told you at the moment, it reminded me of Chuck Liddell versus Tito Ortiz.
Yeah.
Where he's just up against the cage like this, and the guy's just ding, 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 just teeing off on him. And Warley drops, and it looked like a flash KO, but I think they called it a KO or a TKO?
It says TKO, at least on ESPN.
They stopped it, waved it off.
Yeah, but I mean, it would have been a KO.
And again, that's it.
That's it. Like, that's all we have, really.
We're trying to break these fights down for you as well as we
here's
can.
here's a fun fight for Aliskerov. He was originally we actually talked about him previously. I remember all of this now. He was originally supposed to fight Paulo Costa, and Paulo Costa got removed from that fight to fight Khamzat. You remember us talking about this like 2-3 months ago?
I believe so, because we were like, I think Paulo was like, "Did you really think I was gonna fucking fight that guy? You think I'm really gonna show up?"
Now we know who he is, and you know what? Might have been a fun fight.
Oh, it definitely would have been a fun fight. It would have been a slugfest. But I don't know about you. We'll get to that in a second. I need to see Paulo versus Khamzat.
I do too. And we're going to get to that, but I want to see it. I need to see it.
On to the next, right?
On to the next.
Shout out to Ikram.
This is where we're going to take a quick detour to the prelims, to one of the early prelims. What was his name? Travis Henry?
Victor Henry?
Right? Victor Henry. My apologies. Where did the names go? Victor Henry and Javid Basharat. It was in the second round, pretty early in the second round. Basharat goes for, Henry kind of lifts his leg up for a kick, and Basharat swings a kick into his leg. And the way it hits like kind of in the gooch, but it like kind of pushes that cup up.
Got him right in the pills, huh?
Right in the pills. And Henry goes down. He's crying. He's in a lot of pain. The ringside doctor, who I don't know his name, he walks in and he tells, he asks Henry, how you doing? Are you okay? Henry says, "No, I'm not okay. I'm in pain." And I think the doctor literally asked, "Where does it hurt?" I remember because Victor Henry goes, "My dick and my balls."
Yeah.
And then the doctor proceeds to say, "Well, the replay shows you didn't get hit there." And just like me, just like John Anik and DC, they're like, "What's this guy talking about?"
Yeah.
They were like, the clip doesn't look very conclusive, yes, but like if the fighter's crying almost, he's not lying about that.
I saw the slow-mo, and if his cup is like this, the foot goes from being like this to like it bent, like it hits something.
Yeah. It hits like the edge of the cup, which,
we're both men, mature, grown, but we're both men.
Well, we're men.
It does not matter if it is, or
sometimes those little taps can be the worst, especially if it hits like one ball perfectly.
They shoot the nerves up. Now, I don't know how many female listeners we have, but for you female listeners, I don't know. I always forget this measurement, but I think it's like 9,000 dells of pain, something like that.
I've heard something like this. Yeah,
it was a meme or whatever, but it's equal to getting all of the bones in your body broken 132 times and giving birth a certain amount of times.
Oh my God.
It's not fun.
That's wild.
Getting hit in the nuts.
No.
Do you have any updates on him?
I think I did read I actually read an interview today, what he posted today. So after the fight, John Anik made very sure to keep us updated and to poke fun at this doctor for the rest of the night, which I appreciated. After the fight, he had to be helped to the back. He couldn't walk on his own.
Now they give you like 5 minutes, right? When you have an injury like that,
he got the 5 minutes and then he couldn't continue afterwards.
He was
in too much pain.
5 minutes.
He took all 5 minutes, and he couldn't do anything. So they walk him to the back, and then like after the next fight, we get an update that says Travis or Victor. I don't know why I keep calling him Travis. Victor Henry is now throwing up in the back, and John quips, "Oh, but he didn't really get kicked in the dick, right?" And then they took him to the hospital for a testicular ultrasound. I think I saw an interview today. He said he's doing fine. There's not going to be any permanent damage, but the swelling will go down in a few days. Mm-hmm. So, he's clearly got kicked there. Now, why did I tell him this story, Robert? Why was this story important to our boys, Magomed Ankalaev and Johnny Walker?
Well, it's important because that was a flub. The first instance was a flub.
Yes.
This one, an accident happened, and I want to tell you that it's an accident. But before I do that, kicking a man's testes produces 9,000 dells of pain, which is equivalent to producing 132 children and breaking 3,200 bones at once.
132 children.
Yeah, and breaking.
I mean, there's millions of children in those balls. So
yeah, so it's not fun.
I mean,
a dell is a unit of pain. It's a measurement of pain. So this time, none of that happened. No groin shots or anything like that.
No groin shots were in this fight, but the doctor. Our doctor from earlier, he made an appearance.
So Magomed Ankalaev, this is where it was going to get interesting because this is the first fight that we separated for bragging rights.
This was a big one for us.
So Johnny is up against the cage on one knee, and Magomed he decides to throw a knee. And it doesn't really matter if it hits in the body or hits in the leg or anything. But if that knee is down, it cannot be from the neck and above. You can't knee to the head to a downed opponent.
Right.
And this knee hits Johnny square in the jaw. And I'd say it rocked him. But as soon as the foul was called, Johnny's like, what the fuck, dude? Like,
yeah, he was pissed, but he wasn't.
It wasn't out of there. It didn't do anything.
He was fine. He seemed fine to everybody.
So as he's getting his 5 minutes, because it's an illegal blow, asked 5 minutes.
You get your 5 minutes.
They call the doctor in. And the doctor proceeds to ask Johnny a riddle of questions, apparently. And he asked...
He also doesn't get any time to recover. The doctor's in there within a 60-second period.
I have a counterpoint to that.
Okay, let's hear it.
But what happened is the doctor was called in pretty much immediately and asking Johnny a slew of questions of, are you okay? And then the main one was, what country are you fighting in? Kyle, I didn't know that information. I just know that they were in Abu Dhabi.
John Anik didn't know that information. He even said so on the broadcast.
What a casual.
I know. He's in the country.
The United Arab Emirates, or the United Arab Emirates.
Yes.
That's the country
when we Googled it, we didn't think it was a country. We thought it was like some kind of unified states or something.
Yeah.
I guess it's technically a country, but
So he asked him what country he was fighting in, and Johnny, his first language is not English, and the doctor was speaking English to him.
And apparently, you know what? I listened to a Johnny Walker interview, and I'll add what he says after you're done because I want to hear your point first. My bad.
Well, first of all, if he is injured, you don't want, if he's concussed or if he has anything damaged going on. I got this from Chael Sonnen himself. You don't want to wait a full 5 minutes. You want to get the doctor in there ASAP. You need to know that he's okay ASAP.
Okay.
Anybody who's like, well, they didn't even give him the full 5 minutes. It's like, okay, well, that's not a groin strike. That's a strike to the head. You need to make sure that there's no brain inflation. You need to make sure that he is A-okay as soon as possible.
That's fair.
And with Johnny's answer not being what the doctor was looking for, you can't really put it all on the doctor, but I do agree with everyone else that thinks this. It was an overcorrection from where he flubbed up from the nut shot on Victor Henry.
Yes.
What were you going to say?
So I listened to Johnny talk about it on Ariel Hawani's podcast. Shout out my boy.
MMA Hour.
He was talking and he's like, he said, I speak pretty decent English, but it's not my first language. Mm-hmm. And he also said he didn't believe that the Dodgers' first language was English. So there was some confusion with, them talking. Mm-hmm. And then, he says, the way he worded it, he said, the doctor said, where are you? Mm. And Johnny says, in my head, I wanted to say Abu Dhabi, but I thought that would be the wrong answer. Yeah. Just like, because it's not the country. So he panicked, he said, and he just said, I'm fighting in the desert. I'm fine. I'm good to go. And
Sure.
the doctor didn't like that and waved it off. And both fighters were pissed.
And not only were they pissed, Johnny didn't really know if the fight was over or
No.
not. Which when the ref goes like this, the fight's off.
If you look at Johnny, though, in that moment, he's not looking at the ref. I don't think he noticed the ref actually wave it off. I think he knew the ref was there.
Doctor walks
and
away.
He started, he was walking up ready to fight. The push was uncalled for.
From Magomed?
Big of a push from both of them. Didn't they both push the ref?
I think. Well, Johnny pushed the ref first. He's like, "What are you doing?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of my way."
Yeah, let me fight.
And then Magomedov, I think, pushed Johnny. If you watch the post fight,
I understand why Magomed was upset.
Could you? Because he wasn't able to give you bragging rights all the way.
I mean, I'm not upset about it, but
You know he got saved, right? Johnny was about to go to work on that.
No,
guy.
he wasn't.
He was about to. He had a lunch packed, about to go to work on Magomed.
Magomed had him exactly where he wanted him, up against the cage.
Again, another fight ending in, I mean, with the ref and with all the doctor stuff, less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, that one went 3-13. Longest fight. That is the second longest fight on the main card under our next fight. Second longest fight.
Which, this is where, well, let's go ahead and give it to you. Kyle has bragging rights for the week. So whatever he decides to do with those, shout out to my boy Kyle. Shout out to my.
Smash everybody!
He was actually really peaceful in his post-fight interview after Khamzat Chimaev wrestle fucked Kamaru Usman. The reason I say that is he broke his hand in the first round. Apparently, Khamzat did
first.
Apparently,
which made a lot of sense because you and I were both kind of wondering why Khamzat took his foot off the pedal in round 2, and Kamaru, I think, won round 2 because of that. So that's why I was a little nervous.
Yeah.
I didn't know what. And then round 3 was an extremely close round. I think Khamzat did just enough to,
edge out a win.
Get the nod. It wasn't like after the first round, it wasn't this high octane fight. It looked like an injured guy versus a guy who came in on 11 days notice.
Yeah. We love those fights.
It was unfortunate. What about the ref, or what about the judge that gave it 28-28? So that means he gave Kamar 2 rounds, and he gave Khamzat the 10-8 in round 1.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of that? You think that's a good card?
I don't know what he was watching. It was one of those things where, he had the control time, but it was a bunch of Kamaru trying to escape, and then Khamzat, he planted on his hands, and Khamzat was doing a bunch of taking his hands off, taking his base really. So, but he wasn't really beating him up.
Couple sub attempts, but that was about it really. You're right. It was mostly just.
I don't see what he saw, but we're not cage side.
I don't see a 10-8 round.
We see everything.
Yeah, I don't see a 10-8 round there.
Mm-hmm.
You could say, I think one of the commentators said it's almost a 10-8 round. You could say it was almost a 10-8 round, but it's not a 10-8 round.
Yeah.
I thought. Not enough was done.
I mean, 10-8, that's why they need to go over the criteria of what a 10-8 actually is. Because, like we were shouting out Habib earlier, if you get under that guy and he has 4 out of the 5 minutes of control time and he's beating you up and you look exhausted and you're damaged and he just completely dominates you, that's what a 10-8 is. Just being on somebody's back or having a certain position on someone and not, if you can sit in side control or you can sit on somebody's back, you can hit them, you can finish them, you can flatten them out, which he flattened Kamaru a couple times. But you can always advance position. It's very rare where you get a dominant position and you can't get all the way.
Yeah.
So I feel like the domination factor wasn't there. It should have been a 10-9. That's just my opinion.
I'd say 10-9. 10-9's what it should have been there. And then that would have led to a split decision. Kamaru did. I mean, Kamaru looked pretty good for 11 days notice. He really took it to him in round two.
He's not a middleweight. He's
not a middleweight.
He's a welterweight.
But he,
came off the couch, and Khamzat couldn't finish somebody who came off the couch.
I think Kamaru could be a decent middleweight. Like, let's see him with the full camp at middleweight.
Full camp Kamaru, dude.
I want to see full camp Kamaru. I'm still a big Kamaru fan. I want to see what he does next because I don't want to see him retire yet. He is getting up there though. He's like 36.
Well, that was his plan. He was gonna beat Khamzat, beat Sean Strickland, go back down and fight whoever versus Leon and Colby, which we already know. That show's coming up in a couple. It's
gonna be a good one.
It's gonna be a good one. So that's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in to see what Kamaru does next. But I
hope it's something.
This is why I don't like short notice fights for either of the co-main or the main event. Is because you're not seeing the full potential of these guys.
The stakes are too big to come in on these short notice.
I agree.
Periods.
But what
you're going to derail your whole timeline.
You're not as beaten up as a 8, 10, 12 week camp because your body is just crazy diminished after all that training, specific training, general training. You can't do that to your body and expect it to be 100%. So I get where these guys, no, I'm coming off the couch. There's not as much wear and tear on my body. Your brain is not in that mode as much as it would be, or you're just not as prepared, and that can cause doubts. Even if it's like, oh, well, this was on 12 days notice, that's a doubt. That's not the mentality you need to have when going to fight these killers that have been training the whole time. So shout out to Kamaru Usman. I'm excited to see what's next. I would like full camp. And that's where you win the bragging rights because that was it. That's
really all we got.
That was it. Do you want to lead us into the funeral that is the main event? Oh, sorry.
Not yet. Well,
okay.
I want to talk about. We don't have a lot of news to talk about, so let's talk about where's Khamzat go next. Do you think he deserves that title fight, or would you like to see him fight somebody else first, a real middleweight, not a short notice?
Yeah, I mean, Dana said it. We broke that news actually. Dana said, the president of the UFC goes, the winner of this co-main, whether it's Kamaru Usman or Khamzat Chimaev, will be the number one contender for Sean Strickland at 185. I have a question for you that Conor McGregor brought up. Do you think that number one contender fights should be 5 rounds?
I want to see more 5-round fights, so yeah.
What do you think Kamaru would have done with 2 more rounds?
It could have been far worse for Khamzat.
He looked gassed when he was doing his post-fight interview.
And obviously, the hand being an issue, it probably would have gone Kamaru's way. I would have assumed. I think I want to see most, if not all, co-main events on pay-per-views, not the UFC fight nights, but I think the co-main on a pay-per-view should be a 5-round fight, no matter who's in it.
Wow.
No matter if it's a number one contender fight, 2 top 10 guys are just going at it, and it's just a fun fight. Let's see it at 5 rounds. But I mean,
well, to your point, usually if you make it to a co-main, they're just building you up. Like first,
you're close.
You're starting out. You're starting the pay-per-view, or you're the main event on the prelims, leading into the pay-per-view. But once you get to that co-main spot, some guys drift in the middle for a while. But if you get to that co-main spot, the winner of that fight, you can usually almost 8 times out of 10 find yourself next in a main event, whether it's a fight night. I know a lot of the champions headline main event, the pay-per-views, so it's like that's not as easy. But when you're put into that co-main, you don't become this proverbial co-mainer like this.
No,
like you don't just be a co-main all the time. So like they're trying to build on you. They're trying to move you up. So,
also that being said, I know Khamzat. Dana says Khamzat's number one contender prior to this fight. But I'd rather see Khamzat Paulo Costa or Khamzat Dricus Du Plessis for the number one contendership prior to Sean Strickland.
Poor DDP, man.
I know he just got what I guess he was hurt. I don't remember what exactly happened, but I get it. I don't think outside of Khamzat, I don't think you have a solid number one contender for Sean at the moment. And I think that's why you kind of need to rush somebody in there. Let's pull up the rankings.
Please. I was about to ask you.
Let's take a quick look.
I was about to ask you what ranking number. Not that the rankings really matter. Their media ran. What's Paulo?
Paulo, as of today, is 6th.
Oh.
Khamzat's 9 now. And if you look at the top, 5, minus maybe Dricus, you could just say Dricus could be, the next number one, really. Robert Whitaker's at 3, just lost to Dricus. Jared Cannonier doesn't feel like he has enough steam to call for another title shot yet. Maybe one more win.
Sure.
Marvin Vettori. I see why, this. They're like, this is the fight that's going to be your number one contender, just because there's not enough push behind those other guys, if that makes sense.
Which is their fault. It's 100% their fault.
Yeah. Jared Cannonier's coming off wins, but it still just doesn't feel. With Izzy taking extended leave, I mean, middleweight's kind of a Wild West, it feels like.
Up in the air, huh?
Up in the air, maybe not as bad as light heavyweight, but still a lot of good guys in the top 10.
We just got to find the right matchups, and
let's see it. Yeah.
If Khamzat was to beat DDP, I would okay, cool. Now you have Sean.
Oh yeah, that's it. That's definitive.
But like I said
if
earlier,
Khamzat, DDP went together, whoever wins that is definitively the guy.
I need Khamzat versus Paulo Costa. I said it earlier. That's what I want.
Yeah, that's what I want the most.
Give me what I want.
But God, Khamzat Dricus could be one of the most violent things we've ever seen in our lives.
I remember sitting on my side porch and I was watching it on my phone, and I just remember looking at what DDP did to Robert Whitaker. And you even texted me in all caps. You're like, holy shit, DDP. Holy shit, Dricus. I'm like, and as that's coming down, because I had a delay, so it's coming down on my screen.
Oh, no.
And I'm just like, what's going on? And then boom. And I'm just like, oh, thanks, Kyle.
Dude, that's why you got to buy the pay-per-view. You won't be behind.
Shout out to Uncle Dana. We bought the pay-per-view this weekend. Kyle's a good fan.
I am a good fan, Papa Dana. Bring me out. Hire me. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, hire me too, dude.
Bring him too. He'll start buying them. He'll start buying them if you hire him.
Yeah. All right.
If Dana hires you, would you buy the pay-per-views or nah?
You get them for free if you're hired on.
Really? Is that a fact?
It's 100% fact. At least from DC. DC gets them for free.
I mean, that's DC.
Dude, if I'm working for the UFC,
do you think intern Billy who gets Dana's coffee? Do you think he gets a free?
He gets a free ticket, a backstage pass or something. He gets something. Anyways, I'm done. I'm done on this co-main.
Oh, I just was trying to delay the inevitable here.
Of course you were, because Kyle does not want to talk about what happened to our boy. It's his boy. But
all the homies love Volk.
We were Aussie, oi, 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 all week. We put it on the show. Kyle doesn't have the background anymore, but that's us, bro. That was what we wanted. What did we get, Kyle?
We got an absolute domination by Islam. Volk lands no significant strikes in the 3 minutes they're together. Islam gets him up against the cage, and he just throws this beautiful head kick that just smashes Volk. Volk's even guarding, and it just didn't matter. right to the head, right to the temple. And then he takes some of the just ugliest ground and pound that I think I've ever witnessed. That I don't like the image in my head of Volk trying to lift his head up, but it's getting just destroyed.
Back at the
I'm gonna.
headshots.
There was a couple back of the headshots, but that wasn't changing anything. It was over.
His guard was good because when you're wanting to avoid a head kick, you either dodge it, which it was already coming like a baseball bat, but his guard was so good. It was over the jaw, over the temple, just he's trying, and it just kink right on top
Just
of the
comes
head.
right over it. Yeah.
Knocked off his equilibrium, goes back like this. And I was sitting behind you because I'm sitting on the casual couch. And I'm sitting behind you, and you lean forward like you're on the edge of your seat, and I lean forward. And it wasn't one of those, oh! It was like...
No, we were quiet.
It was like...
The breath was ripped from that room. We went silent for a good 30 seconds after the fight, too. I don't think we wanted to acknowledge what had happened.
It was heartbreaking,
It was heartbreaking. I will make the excuse that it was only on 11 days. And I'm wishing he hadn't taken the fight, because how do you get back? How do you get back to
You don't get back to Islam. You don't get back to Islam.
It would take a miracle to get back to Islam. And it sucks because I really believe, with a full camp, that would have been a slightly different fight.
That head kick was there. Mighty Mouse even said it. That head kick was there all night. The first fight.
I remember Mighty Mouse talking about that and the body kicks. Like he doesn't, because he has such a reach advantage on him. It was there.
Can I be disrespectful for a second?
Sure.
I wanted to do this out of celebration. And I wanted to do this, and Kyle doesn't even know what's going on right now.
I have no idea.
I wanted to do this.
I hope it's Vegemite.
It's Vegemite.
Oh, it looks so gross.
And I'm sitting here with my toast and butter. Yo.
He's got the butter. You know what? I gotta try it now just because I want to try it, but
it's not.
I didn't get it.
It's not spreading well.
Is it thick?
Yeah, it's really gelatinous.
Is it like a jelly?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, that's so gross.
Apparently it has a roast beef kind of flavor to it.
That's what they said. Roast beef jelly? That sounds so gross. I mean, looks okay. Just looks like toast with some roast beef jam. Let's get a good bite. One bite, everybody knows the rules. Oh, boy.
That's gross as fuck.
What's it taste like?
Meat.
Jelly meat, huh? You gonna let me borrow that, or I need to buy my own?
No, I'll let you have it, dude. This is 220 grams of this shit.
That's I gotta try it at least now.
That was for you, Islam. Because I didn't do it for Volk.
I mean, Islam looked like a
world beater.
A world beater. If you knock out Volk, I think there's not much argument there.
Is he number one?
Never
pound
been
for pound?
finished. I would put him there.
Well, he hasn't been finished in over a decade.
I don't like John being at number one.
Why not?
Off the back. If he had a couple fights at heavyweight, I'd get it. But
he left his number one.
I know. I still don't like it. I think you need to be a little more active. He's gonna finish it though. Are you starting to like it?
No. But I don't like wasted food.
What made me honestly the most sad though is the post-fight press conference with Volk, and he said some things that are a little sad to hear.
Yeah.
He said he's not right. He's not doing good mentally, it sounds like, and he took the fight to keep himself busy, and I think that's a bad place to be. You do not want to take a fight just to stay busy, to get your mind off of whatever's going on.
Which he had more than that. He had a newborn. He had a surgery. He had his mental health stuff going on. And I can relate to that, not to get too sappy or sad about it, but when you have a goal, when you have a light at the end of your tunnel, it's definitely better than just sitting around and just, oh, well, what next? And we could argue he had Ilya next, but you still have November and December, an 8-week camp, or I think it's going to be mid-January, early January.
So that's when he wants to fight.
You can't really, and see, that's another thing, is like, does he get the medical suspension from this KO?
Yeah, it's like, this was a mistake.
Same as his Vegemite, dude.
Yeah, I'm sure that was tasty. I think if you're taking a fight to get away from your mental health problems, that's really not a good look. And I think you should take some time and figure out what's going on there. Everybody can have a little down spell, and hopefully it's nothing major, but he said some concerning things that should probably be addressed.
Absolutely, especially for the better sake of his camps and his health and his legacy.
And his career, yeah. You don't want to just keep taking fights just because you need something to distract you, because, it's kind of sad.
Well, that's a Band-Aid, because eventually your fight's going to be over. And win or lose, if you're not in a fight camp. He wasn't mentioning any of that, win or lose. Like, he was like, or he is mentioning that, win or lose. Because if you're not in a camp, whether you won or lost, you're just on to the next, and you're on to, or maybe back in the pit that you were in before the fight. So, shout out to Alexander Volkanovski. Shout out to Islam Makhachev.
Well, champ. Ooh, what's next? What's next for Islam?
You know what he wants? He wants the winner of Leon and Colby. Do you think he gets it? Because Papadena was like, Charlie Olives is next. That's the fight that everybody wanted to see.
I thought I heard Justin was next. I'd heard Justin was next. I don't remember who said it. I thought it was Dana.
I think it was Justin. Justin tweeted it as soon as he won.
Justin may have, but someone made an argument. It might have been a commentator that, Justin beating Dustin seems like the should have been the natural guy to take the spot. But with it being so close to October and then wanting to have Islam fight in Abu Dhabi, Charles was the next guy up. But now that Charles is out and you have some time to set a new fight, is Justin next? I'd be fine with Justin or Charles.
Well, Justin got called. He got called to take the place that Volk did.
Did he turn it down, or did just something happen?
Turned it down because he said he couldn't make weight. So it's like, are you really ready? Are you really ready to be the true number one contender? How big did you get?
Maybe it's just a smart decision.
Definitely a smart decision. You definitely don't want to, Volk was going to pull off the impossible. That's where we got right back on the line. You had Khamzat, I had Kamaru, and then we came back, back together again because we both believed in Volk. Now, I'll tell you this, firsthand, Vegemite is fucking disgusting, but I will
try it.
I love the Land Down Under, and I love that song, and I love everything that Volk stands for, and we were behind him 100% and still are.
100%.
Still are.
Oh, yeah. Still am.
He is going to fuck Ilia Topuria. Topuria?
I think you said it right. I think that'll be one of his more challenging fights at featherweight in a while, though.
No.
Since the early Max fights, I think it'll be the most challenging.
No. I tell you what I want to see. I want to see Yair versus Ilya.
That'd be fun.
Because I think they're on the same level. I think that's a fun fight.
Really?
Yeah. He is going to smash this kid. He's going to smash him, Kyle. It's not even going to be fun. That's why I wanted to see him be double champ, because Volk at 145 is too good. He's too good.
Yeah, it's just
there's no wrestling threat. He took on Islam. Where is the wrestling threat at 145 like there is at 155? Where? Because it's not in Yair.
145 has a ton of strikers. I never really thought of that, but it really does.
Mm-hmm. Because he's not going to get wrestle-fucked. And that's why the head kick was there. That's why the knockdowns, or not the knockdowns, but the striking in the first fight is your brain is overloaded. It's on occupied mode with every little thing. The wrestling, the striking, the sambo, the jiu-jitsu. It's like you have so much to think about. And when you think about Islam Makhachev, no knock to him. Got a knockdown on Charlie Olives and the submissions are there. But a head kick, just like Justin Gaethje. Maybe not the last thing, but one of the last things that Dustin Poirier was thinking in the BMF title fight was, this guy's going to throw a head kick at me? And it didn't even look the best. It looked pretty sloppy because Justin doesn't do that.
So, but it was set up nicely with that jab.
Same thing with the Leon.
Straight, I don't remember.
Yep.
Yeah, it's identical to the Leon kick.
So when you have Islam throwing a head kick at you, you're like, okay, I got that, and it just dinks you. You're like, damn, what more could I have done? Why am I'm just supposed to do this? Like, that being said, I want to see Islam fight Charlie Olives second round, or not second round, for the second time. I wouldn't mind seeing Justin versus Islam, but I think Islam is showing Khabib-esque styles now. And I don't know, I couldn't tell you how many knockouts that Khabib has.
Islam has better striking than Khabib.
Yeah, he's just had more time in it.
Yeah. Khabib's wrestling still feels ungodly.
Mm-hmm.
But
Islam, ground and pound, everything.
Islam is a close, similar wrestler with better striking.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting.
He's more well-rounded.
Yeah, it's a little more well-rounded than Khabib.
Is it our show? Are we gonna? I want to go out on a light note, but I don't know.
What do we got? Let's find. There's got to be something exciting to talk about that we can end on not such a sad, somber note.
You wanna talk shit on Francis Ngannou?
I mean, we could.
He fights this weekend against Tyson Fury, and I have Tyson. I'll bet
this weekend.
It's this weekend, October 28th. I'll put my house on it. I'll put my whole house on Tyson Fury.
I would, yeah. I can't believe that. I had no clue that was this weekend. I thought that was so much farther out for some reason.
I don't know. Maybe Holly Holm fights this weekend. I'm not sure. But we will be back. We will be back because right around the corner, less than 15 days, less than 20 days, John Jones takes on Stipe Miocic,
the heavyweight GOAT.
So that's
an exciting one.
We'll have another exciting pre-show for you guys. I could talk shit on Francis all day, but I'm good if you are.
Maybe we could come back to that after it's happened.
Yeah.
There's 295 is stacked.
Is it?
It's got a lot of big names that I like.
I heard it was Dogwater.
Alex Yeri.
Alex Yeri's going to be fun.
Jessica Andrade, Mackenzie Dern.
I'm ready for Mackenzie to wrap her up in those thighs of hers.
I want to see it so bad. That's a solid women's fight. My boy Matt Frivola, the Steamroller.
Frivola.
Fighting Benoit Saint Denis. I mean, Matt Schnell's on the prelims. I think the only person calling this a bad card is Casual.
And there you have it. And there you have it. We are the Couch Casuals, bringing all of the MMA news, some boxing news. Fuck you, Francis.
Francis.
And we will be back pretty soon. So shout out to all the casuals out there. Come sit on the couch with us. You know where the real thing is, and it's right here on the Couch Casuals. Here. Take us out, Kyle.
Folks, it's been fun. It's been real. We love you. Peace.